Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. The Real Housewives of Atlanta fans recently became embroiled in a story involving Kenya Moore following her departure from the series. Since then, rumors have come out, including her possible return. Recently, Cohen was asked to shed some light on the story. Moore started her career in modeling and beauty pageants, even winning Miss USA 1993. She then segued into acting, appearing in projects like Waiting to Exhale, Deliver Us from Eva, Cloud9, and I Know Who Killed Me. In her personal life, she was also married to businessman and restaurant owner Mark Dely from 2017 to 2024. For many, however, Moore's biggest claim to fame is appearing on The Real Housewives of Atlanta, making her debut in the 5th season. Following this, she would appear in other reality shows, including Dancing with the Stars and The Celebrity Apprentice. As previously reported, however, Moore was let go from the show around 2024. At the time, there had been allegations of illicit photos of Brittany Edie being released, with Moore denying any wrongdoing. Since then, as noted by TMZ, Moore had claimed she was invited to a Real Housewives reunion, only for it to be rescinded. Bravo personality and Real Housewives franchise executive producer Cohen recently weighed in on the issue. When asked about the invitation story by TMZ reporters, Cohen shared, "I have to watch her whole. I haven't watched her post yet." He then added, "We'll talk about it," when asked if it was true. Cohen was then asked if Moore was coming back. He admitted, I love her. Listen, there is so much of this season left, and it is so good. Phaedra comes on in, like, 5 weeks. It is a jam, and you're gonna love it. So right now, I'm kind of focusing on the rest of the seasons." The reporter still tried to ask more questions, noting that she felt Cohen was just about to confirm the invitation story. However, he rhetorically said, "That's what it looks like I was trying to say," pivoting away from the question. He then concluded things saying, "I don't know. I love her. I'll tell you that much." Taking to social media, a few fans have been sharing their own reaction to the clip. Some came to Cohen's defense, while others poked fun at how he avoided answering. A few comments included, "Andy's so shady. Andy does not have as much decision-making with the housewives as people think he does anymore. I'm sure this wasn't his decision. Plus, if she feels threatened, Kenya shouldn't want to attend the reunion anyway. Yeah, Andy is more the face/spokesperson of the network rather than the big boss. His voice does count, but he's not to blame for every decision being made. Haha, he is so good at fielding these impromptu ambushes, but it must be annoying. Girl, he cannot spill the Bravo tea to you randomly on the street. This is why Bravo has Andy's back all these years. He never will say more than they want out." Have you been keeping up with the Real Housewives of Atlanta? The Real Housewives of Atlanta universe is no stranger to drama, and this time, it's swirling around a familiar name, Kenya Moore. Since her headline-making departure from the long-running Bravo series, fans have been buzzing about what really happened behind the scenes and whether she might return. Now, the Queen of Shade herself is back in the spotlight thanks to new developments and a cryptic response from none other than Bravo's ringleader, Cohen. As whispers of a potential reunion gain traction, fans are dissecting every word and every social media post, desperate to know what's really going on. Is Kenya on her way back to the RHOA stage? Did she get snubbed by Bravo at the last minute? And what does Andy's latest interaction with TMZ actually reveal? Let's break down everything we know. Before she became one of reality television's most polarizing figures, Kenya Moore was already a star in her own right. She captured national attention when she won Miss USA in 1993, cementing her status as a beauty queen with brains and ambition. After her pageant success, she pivoted to acting, landing roles in films like Waiting to Exhale, Deliver Us from Eva, Cloud9, and the Lindsay Lohan thriller I Know Who Killed Me. By the time she joined The Real Housewives of Atlanta in Season 5, 2012, Moore was no stranger to the limelight. But RHOA gave her a new kind of fame, a bold, unfiltered, and often controversial one. Her sharp tongue, meme-worthy moments, Gone with the Wind fabulous, Anyone, and high-profile feuds with other cast members turned her into a central figure on the show. Kenya's personal life has been just as eventful as her on-screen appearances. She married New York-based restaurateur Mark Daly in 2017, and in 2018, the couple welcomed their daughter, Brooklyn Doris Daly. For a while, it seemed Kenya had found her happy ending. But the relationship was anything but smooth sailing. Public spats, a brief separation, and ultimately a split in 2024 made headlines, with Kenya confirming the couple had finalized their divorce. Fans saw glimpses of this tumultuous relationship on the show, where Kenya often appeared emotionally conflicted, torn between defending her marriage and acknowledging its cracks. Many hoped her personal growth and resilience would usher in a new era on RHOA, but instead, she vanished from the series. In 2024, Kenya Moore's tenure on the Real Housewives of Atlanta came to an unexpected halt. Though Bravo never formally announced her firing, it quickly became clear that she would not return for the next season. Speculation intensified when Moore became entangled in a bizarre controversy involving the alleged release of inappropriate images of another woman, Brittany Edie. Moore denied any involvement, claiming innocence and framing the incident as a targeted attempt to discredit her. Despite her efforts to clear her name, the damage was done. Moore would later allege that Bravo initially invited her to a reunion special, only to revoke the invitation at the last minute. This left fans shocked and confused. Had Bravo really pulled the plug on Kenya without explanation? Was she being iced out of the franchise she helped build? Or was this all part of a bigger, more complicated picture? In true Bravo fashion, answers have been hard to come by. That is, until Andy Cohen was ambushed by TMZ on a sunny Los Angeles sidewalk earlier this week. Naturally, the first question lobbed at him was about the ongoing Kenya Moore drama. When asked directly about Kenya's claim that she was disinvited from the reunion, Cohen hesitated. "I have to watch her whole. I hadn't watched her post yet," he said, referencing Kenya's social media videos on the matter. Then came the inevitable follow-up, "Is Kenya coming back?" Cohen's response was as vague as it was telling. I love her," he said. "Listen, there is so much of this season left, and it is so good. Phaedra comes on in, like 5 weeks. It is a jam, and you are gonna love it. So right now, I'm kind of focusing on the rest of the seasons." Despite further prodding, Cohen didn't confirm or deny Kenya's allegations. When asked if his answers were a cryptic way of confirming the disinvitation, he smirked and replied, "That's what it looks like I was trying to say," before deftly pivoting away from the topic. His final words, "I don't know. I love her. I'll tell you that much." Unsurprisingly, Cohen's diplomatic dodge stirred the pot. Fans rushed to social media to weigh in on the viral exchange, with some praising Cohen for keeping his cool and others calling him out for avoiding accountability. "Andy so shady," one user wrote bluntly. Another added, "Andy does not have as much decision-making power with the housewives as people think he does anymore. I'm sure this wasn't his decision. Plus, if she feels threatened, Kenya shouldn't want to attend the reunion anyway." There was also a broader conversation about Cohen's evolving role within Bravo. Once seen as the all-powerful puppet master of the Housewives universe, Cohen is increasingly viewed as a figurehead rather than the ultimate authority. "Yeah, Andy is more the face/spokesperson of the network rather than the big boss," one fan wrote. "His voice does count, but he's not to blame for every decision being made." Another user summed up the sentiment best. "Haha, he is so good at fielding these impromptu ambushes, but it must be annoying. Girl, he cannot spill the Bravo tea to you randomly on the street. This is why Bravo has Andy's back all these years. He never will say more than they want out." Despite all the drama, there's a sense that Kenya Moore isn't finished with the Housewives just yet. Her name carries weight. Her storylines consistently deliver. And whether you love her or love to hate her, she keeps viewers engaged. Moreover, her departure has left a noticeable void. As RHOA continues to evolve, newer cast members have struggled to capture the same level of attention. With Phaedra Parks set to return in a few weeks, fans are hoping for an old-school shakeup, and many want Kenya back in the mix. In some ways, Kenya's saga echoes the redemption arcs of other housewives, cast members who've been cancelled only to return with a vengeance. Whether it's Nene Leakes, Tamra Judge, or even Teresa Giudice post-prison, Bravo has a history of reviving the careers of its most controversial stars. So why not Kenya? Even if she doesn't return to the Real Housewives of Atlanta, Moore is far from fading into obscurity. She remains active on social media, has teased new business ventures, and continues to advocate for women's empowerment, especially single mothers and survivors of abuse. There's also speculation she may appear in another Bravo franchise, or even develop a show of her own. She's teased projects that showcase a more authentic side of her life, perhaps moving away from the over-the-top drama that defines the housewives world. And yet, the allure of Bravo remains strong. Kenya Moore has always been a lightning rod, glamorous, outspoken, and polarizing. Her presence on The Real Housewives of Atlanta was a balancing act of vulnerability and fierceness, and her sudden absence has left fans with more questions than answers. Andy Cohen's cryptic commentary may not have provided the closure fans were hoping for, but it did reignite interest in one of RHOA's most iconic stars. Whether she returns or not, one thing is certain: the Kenya Moore story is far from over. In the end, maybe that's exactly how she wants it. Please subscribe and keep watching for more detailed videos.